Hi student, myself Patare Nivrutti from Bahadur Naranrao Borakke College, Srirampur, District Ahmednagar, State Maharashtra. Today we will learn in physics magnetic materials, ferromagnetism and domain theory. Magnetic materials are classified three substances: diamagnetic substances, paramagnetic substances and ferromagnetic substances. So in diamagnetic substances are substances which can be weakly repelled by a magnet, are called diamagnetic substances. For example, wood, rubber, plastic, etc. Another paramagnetic substances means substances which are weakly attracted by a magnet are called paramagnetic substances. For example, aluminium, water, etc. And third type is a ferromagnetism. The ferromagnetic substance means substances which are strongly attracted by a magnet are called ferromagnetic substances. For example, cobalt, nickel, iron. Now such types of substances are ferromagnetic substances. In these substances have a positive and large magnetic susceptibility, that is, high degree of magnetic alignment is produced in that substance. Now, when such substances are placed even in a weak external magnetic field, also they retain some magnetism even after the removal of external magnetic field. Even removal of the external magnetic field, they retain some magnetisms due to the properties of ferromagnetic substances. So therefore, for making a permanent magnet, such types of substances are used, that is, the permanent magnets are made from ferromagnetic substances like cobalt, nickel and iron. The properties of ferromagnetic substances, ferromagnetism or magnetic substances is similar to that of paramagnetic substances, but in ferromagnetic substances the magnetism is produced in the high degree of alignment. Now, first properties we will learn. Suppose the rod of ferromagnetic substances is kept in uniform magnetic field. Ferromagnetic substance like iron rod is kept in freely in a non-uniform magnetic field. The substance get strongly magnetized in the direction of the external magnetic field. It means the length of the iron rod, that is ferromagnetic rod, is in the direction of the external magnetic field. Now, another property of ferromagnetic substance is when these materials are kept in a non-uniform external magnetic field. Non-uniform means one weaker part and another stronger part, that is non-uniform magnetic field. Now, in this non-uniform magnetic field, if we are kept the ferromagnetic rod, then the rod move from weaker part of the magnetic field to the stronger part of the magnetic field. From weaker part of the magnetic field to the stronger part of magnetic field. Another property, all the atoms of ferromagnetic materials have a resultant magnetic moment. Resultant magnetic moment even in the absence of external magnetic field. Another property, when a thin rod of ferromagnetic substance is kept between two conical pole pieces of an electromagnet, then the rod comes at rest with its axis parallel to the magnetic induction between the two pole pieces. Now, the magnetic susceptibility in ferromagnetic materials is positive and highest. That is, magnetic susceptibility is highest and it is positive. Now, after removal of the external magnetic field, the ferromagnetic substance remains magnetized. So, due to this, the ferromagnetic materials is used to make a permanent magnets. Next, domain theory. The ferromagnetism can be explained on the basis of domain theory, which is proposed by scientist Weiss. Scientist Weiss has proposed the domain theory, and on the basis of domain theory, the ferromagnetism can be explained. Domain means a small regions. Suppose the substance consists of a small regions just like this. Each regions are called domain. That is, small regions, every small regions are called domain. Thus, ferromagnetic material contains a large number of small regions, and each regions are called domains. And now, the size of each domain is a fraction of millimeter, that is 10 raised to minus 6 meter to 10 raised to minus 4 meter. That is very smallest size of each domain. And now each domain contains each domain contains a large number of, means millions of atoms, like 10 raised to 10 to 10 raised to 17. Each domain contains a large number of atoms, that is 10 raised to 10 to 10 raised to 17 atoms. Even in the absence of magnetic field, millions of atomic magnets form a groups, just like this, form a groups, and the region in which all atomic magnets are aligned is like this. Now this is the atomic magnets are aligned in different directions, just like this. Now in each domain, the atomic magnets are aligned in the same directions. It's like this. Now suppose this is one of the domains. This domain contains a number of tiny atomic magnets. The direction of all these tiny atomic magnets are aligned in the same directions. Yes, another regions, that is another domains, also contains a large number of atomic magnets. Their direction is the same of all atomic magnets in these domains. Now in every domains, the direction of the atomic magnets is the same. Thus each domain has a resultant magnetic moment. Each domain thus has a resultant magnetic moment. The domains are irregular shape. The domains have a irregular shape and the large magnetic dipole moment. Due to strong exchange coupling between the neighboring atoms, in domain. All the dipoles have magnetic dipole moments in the same directions. Now we will shown in details by using a figure. Suppose this is the domains in unmagnetized state. Suppose we denote it figure A, unmagnetized state. Now in every domains, the atomic magnets are aligned. The resultant atomic magnets are aligned in the same direction. Now this is the resultant magnetic moments in the absence of external magnetic field or in unmagnetized state. Suppose a weak external magnetic field is applied across such domains or such materials, then what will happen? Some resultant atomic magnets are aligned in the direction of the external magnetic field. And now another domains are aligned randomly. In a figure B, weak external magnetic field. In weak external magnetic field, and you can say that in figure B, when the external magnetic field is applied is weak, then individual atomic magnets tend to align their magnetic dipole moments parallel to the direction of applied external magnetic field. With the removal of such external magnetic field, the boundaries return, these boundaries return to their original positions, and it's like this, and the material loses its magnetism. It means that in a weak external magnetic field, the magnetic field is removed, the boundaries of domains are come to its original position, and the material loses its magnetism. However, if a strong external magnetic field is applied, that is in figure C, strong external magnetic field is applied, then what will happen? All the atomic magnets in each domains are aligned parallel to the direction of the external magnetic field, or aligned in the direction of the external magnetic field. And now this process is in a external magnetic field is done. However, this external magnetic field is removed. External magnetic field is removed. The magnetic properties of such substances does not vanishes, losses, and the magnetism remains permanently. Remains permanently. Even the external magnetic field is removed. Now, due to this, the ferromagnetic substances is used to make a permanent magnet. The degree of magnetism of ferromagnetic substances also depends on temperature of substance. It means the temperature of ferromagnetic substances increases, and the observations shows that at a certain temperature, the domain structures of substances gets collapsed or gets destroyed. It means the boundaries gets destroyed, and such temperatures is nothing but Curie temperatures. When temperature of ferromagnetic substances is increases, the boundaries of each domains is thermally vibrated, thermally vibrated and at a certain temperature, the boundaries of the domains of the substance get collapse or gets destroyed. Such temperature are called Curie temperature. So we can define the Curie temperature means the temperature at which the domain structure is destroyed or collapsed and the ferromagnetic substance loses its magnetism. Also, above the such temperatures, that is above the Curie temperatures, the heat is given to the ferromagnetic substance. The ferromagnetic substance then converted into paramagnetic substance. So above the Curie, we can say that above the Curie temperature the heat is supplied to the substance, then the ferromagnetic substance gets converted into paramagnetic substance. Now if you draw a curve, heat is supplied to the ferromagnetic substance at a Curie temperature. The ferromagnetic substance loses its magnetism, that is the susceptibility psi and temperature T. If we plot the graph susceptibility along y-axis and temperature T along x-axis, then the curve is from ferromagnetic substance into paramagnetic substance. Paramagnetic. Now this is ferromagnetic substance. So we can shown by equation the magnetic susceptibility is inversely proportional to the temperature T. If we remove this proportional sign, then we can take down the constant psi upon psi is equal to constant upon the temperature T minus Tc, that is Curie temperature. So for T greater than Tc. Now this is the relation between magnetic susceptibility and temperature T.